बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। बिला तकल्लुफ़ के साथ मैं हूँ राजानीस। मेरी तरफ से पूरे पाकिस्तान को अस्सलाम वालेकुम। पाकिस्तान में अल्लाह ताला ने बहुत टैलेंट दिया, हमारे नौजवानों में बहुत टैलेंट है। और स्पेशली जब हम खेलों की बात करते हैं तो खेलों में भी हमारे नौजवान आगे नज़र आते हैं। जहाँ मुख्तलिफ़ खेलों में, क्रिकेट में, हॉकी में हमारे नौजवान बहुत आगे नज़र आते हैं, वहाँ फ़ुटबॉल में भी बहुत टैलेंट है। फ़ुटबॉल में भी हमारे नौजवान किसी से पीछे नहीं हैं और जब भी उनको मौका मिलता है वो अपना लोहा मनवाते हैं और पाकिस्तान का नाम रोशन करते हैं। लेकिन बदकिस्मती से ऐसा होता चला आ रहा है कि गुज़िश्ता 75 सालों से, 75 ईयर से फ़ुटबॉल को हमेशा पीछे रखा जाता है, उसको वो इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं दी जाती जो देनी चाहिए। हालांकि हमारे फ़ुटबॉल कराची में बहुत ज़्यादा खेला जाता है और भी हिस्सों में, मुल्क के बहुत हिस्सों में खेला जाता है, लेकिन उन नौजवानों को वो ट्रेनिंग, वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मौजूद नहीं है, उनके लिए वो फैसिलिटीज़ मौजूद नहीं है जो उनको मिलनी चाहिए। यकीनन अगर उनको वो फैसिलिटीज़ मिलें तो वो यकीनन बहुत बेहतर परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं और पाकिस्तान का नाम मज़ीद रोशन कर सकते हैं। आज के प्रोग्राम इसी सिलसिले में है कि क्या वजह है कि पाकिस्तान में फ़ुटबॉल को वो एप्रिसिएशन नहीं मिली। हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने हर दौर में फ़ुटबॉल को वो फोकस नहीं किया, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ दूसरे कंट्रीज से हमारे मुल्क में लोग आके हमारी फ़ुटबॉल टीम को ट्रेन कर रहे हैं। ये बड़ी खुशाइन बात है, हमारे लिए बड़े एजाज़ की बात है। पूरी कौम को इसको अप्रिशिएट करना चाहिए, उनको सल्यूट करना चाहिए और इसको एक्नॉलेज करना चाहिए। और इन तमाम कोशिशों के पीछे जो शख्सियत का हाथ है, वो शख्सियत हमारे दरमियान मौजूद है, जिनकी कोशिशों से इस वक्त यूके की एक फ़ुटबॉल टीम के हेड कोच, उनके वाइस चेयरमैन कराची में मौजूद हैं। उन्होंने लड़कों के साथ, हमारे कराची के मुख्तलिफ फ़ुटबॉल क्लब्स के साथ एग्रीमेंट्स किए, MOU साइन किए और कुछ लड़कों को बाहर ले आने के लिए उन्होंने MOU साइन किया कि हमारे बच्चों को बाहर ले आएंगे, वो ट्रेन करेंगे। मैं उनका तारुफ़ कराता हूँ जिनकी कोशिशों से ये सब कुछ मुमकिन हुआ। एक्टिंग डिप्टी हाई कमिश्नर हैं कराची में, मिस्टर मार्टिन डॉसन। सर, वेलकम टू माई शो।
Thank you very much, Reza, and welcome to the Deputy High Commission.
थैंक यू। इसके साथ जैसे कि मैंने जिक्र किया, एक फ़ुटबॉल क्लब मार्टिन डॉसन साहब ने यहाँ बुलाया, उसके वाइस चेयरमैन यहाँ पर आए, उनके हेड कोच यहाँ पर आए। ये बड़े एफर्ट्स की बात है, बहुत बड़ी बात है कि वो लोग अपना टाइम निकाल के पाकिस्तान में आए। हमारे दरमियान मौजूद है एक बहुत फेमस क्लब है फ़ुटबॉल का, यूके का स्वीडन टाउन फुटबॉल क्लब, उसके वाइस चेयरमैन मिस्टर ज़ेवियर ऑस्टिन। सर, वेलकम टू माई शो।
Thank you very much. Pleased to be here. Very good, thank you. Yourself?
Welcome to my show. Welcome to Bila Takalluf. I am Raja Anis from Bila Takalluf. Welcome both of you once again. Martin Dawson, let me ask you, you have tried your best to promote football in Pakistan as well. I appreciate you. So what was the reason behind it?
Well, I think there's, in a nation that's so in love with sport, and obviously particularly cricket, I think there's a passion for sport at all levels and at all games. So from cricket to badminton to squash, to all the sports that we know Pakistan is very good at. So I think, and with the desire for football is growing globally, it's only going to grow in Pakistan. So that's, and with the initiative of the coaching program with Swindon, this is just one small step at the start, but I think it's going to develop into something much bigger.
So how did you get this idea to invite his club to Pakistan?
Well, it wasn't actually our idea. It was actually an initiative that this gentleman has driven himself. So I think it's probably a good question for him. All we've been doing is providing the support and facilitating some of the processes.
That's good. Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Xavier, how did you get this idea to promote football in Pakistan?
So about 8 years ago, a very good friend of mine that lives in Karachi said, you must come to my country. And at the time, things weren't very good here. At least the media in England, didn't paint a very welcoming picture. And, things were decidedly different at the time. But 5 years ago, I decided to come. And I thought, my God, this is nothing like I had imagined it to be. I thought, London's probably more dangerous than Karachi. Statistically, it probably is actually now. But so my friend said, look, he's a proud Pakistani. He said, look, I've got this involvement with Swindon Town Football Club. You must try and do something. And it was only a year ago, 2 days ago, that I decided to set an academy up here. The Commissioner of Karachi, Mr. Mohammed Iqbal Memon, was integral in helping us because, there's an awful lot of red tape that needs sieving through, and not being from Karachi, I didn't know how the land lay. And then via the commissioner and my friend, we very kindly got invited to Martin and Mike, who predecessed him, and we've got Metro1 now, and they've been an enormous help, because these projects are great ideas, but without help like we're getting here, they're very difficult to get the exposure you need and get the media coverage you need to take them forward and keep people interested. Many people in football have come and gone in Karachi. That's why there is no real leagues of any note here. There is no national team of any note. I know you have a national team, but it's not really recognised on the world stage. But we're here for the duration. We've got enormous support. We've made phenomenal friendships. The warmth of the reception we get every time is off the chart. It's fantastic. Now, Martin and his team have kind of got behind us, and I really do feel exceedingly positive about the future of Pakistani football, which we want to be. We want to be a big part of making your nation recognised on the world stage. And it's small baby steps, but I have no doubt we'll get there. It'll take a few years, but everyone loves football. Football, as I tell everyone, is a vehicle for friendship.
Yes.
You see, I got sent pictures of the World Cup, people watching the World Cup here. It was incredible. Tens of thousands of people watching on big screens.
Yes.
It's and they tell me that it's a faster growing sport now than cricket is, which you wouldn't have believed 10 years ago here, would you? And I always tell people back home that there's a lot of skeptics in England, because when I say we're setting an academy up in Karachi, they say, "Oh, you're wasting your time." Not all people, but a lot of people sadly do. And I say, "Am I?" And I say, my simple answer is this: 20 years ago, if I'd gone to Egypt, okay, and I'd done this, people would have said the same thing. You're wasting your time. Now, one of the best, if not the best player in the world is Egyptian.
From Egypt,
Mohamed
yes.
Salah,
Yes,
who
Salah.
happens to be a Muslim. So by the sheer fact he's a Muslim, the whole of the Muslim world is behind Mohamed Salah. Yes. So nobody can tell me categorically in 20 years' time the best player in the world will not come from Pakistan. I'm not saying it will, by the way, but what I'm saying is nobody can say definitively it won't happen.
Okay, sir, would you tell us about the Swindon Town Football Club? How old is your club?
So Swindon is a very historic club. It was formed in 1879.
1879.
Yeah,
more than
which
100
is,
years.
my maths isn't the greatest, but it's a long time ago, let's put it like that. We've got a very good supporter base. And my idea when we took ownership in June 2021 was to set these small academies up in all these underprivileged places that not a lot of other people will go to. So, for example, if I wanted to go to Brazil to set an academy up, there's no point, because all Man United are there, Liverpool are there, Chelsea are there, Man City are there, Juventus, Real Madrid. No one is here. No one is here. And as I see it, 230 million people live in Pakistan. Over 20 million people live in Karachi. There must be talent. There are so many kids. We had trials. We had nearly 500 boys attend trials a year ago. We took 23 on. Tomorrow we're cutting it to 18. And out of that 18, I believe, honestly, I believe half of them have the serious potential to go places in football. And I think 2 in particular have a real gift. And on Saturday, a coach we identified a few months ago who runs our academy here is coming back to Swindon with us for 2 weeks to stay with us and to learn how we do things in Swindon.
You're calling a coach to UK?
Yes, a Pakistani boy.
Pakistani
He's
boy.
never been out of
Okay, that's a good
Pakistan.
gesture. That's a good
Yeah.
gesture. Good sign.
And he's a local boy. He comes from a very, very humble background. He supports his whole family. And he's like so excited, I can't tell you. And all the boys are
Yeah,
excited for him.
definitely. They should be. Definitely, because they don't have such kind of opportunities like you.
Yeah.
Martin, let me ask you once again. This is because of you.
Which one element of that is reducing tariffs. And in the case of Pakistan, we've reduced our tariffs by 94%. So that'll make it a lot easier for good quality and all Pakistani sporting goods and other goods as well, not just sporting goods, to make it easier to get into the British market and sell their goods in Britain, which is fantastic. So we'd like to see this as a bit of a catalyst, this not just this initiative, but others as well, to help drive our further trade and bilateral trade links.
You can say it can be raised between the...
Absolutely. No,
Absolutely, in
indeed.
future.
Yes, and an introduction of these trading schemes that make it easier for countries to trade with the UK will certainly go a long way to making that happen.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Xavier Astin, what about the Pakistani footballer, whenever you got the trial or check them? So they have definitely talent, so much talented in Pakistani footballer.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd only been here a couple of weeks and we could identify that there was talent there. We know by watching your cricket teams, for example, and your hockey and your squash, which the prominent sports here, that you have very hand-eye coordination, and you're skillful, passionate sportsmen. It's a sports crazy country. Why Pakistan hasn't developed players or had any major players on the world scene of note, and I know there have been the odd one that's played in certain leagues around the world, but I don't know. I think the structure of football needs seriously addressing. We're trying to do it in our own small way. We will need support, because if you do anything on this scale, it takes an awful lot of time and money as well as effort. But if you're going to do something, as I said earlier, we're in this for the long haul. We're not going to be like many companies that come, they say a lot of big things, and then a year later, where are they? We're going to be here. It's a minimum of a 5-year plan. We've currently got a boys team. They're all 15 and 16-year-olds. And by this time next year, we want to have a girls team as well, because I think it's very, very important. I personally think it's very, very important for your country, because it will help the way people perceive Pakistan by having a girls team. And yeah, I think the future is really bright for Pakistan football. The key is getting good coaches, getting good local coaches. So I've said to many people over the last few days, there's no point. I could tell many clubs, and we've spoke to many people over the last 3 days, you can go and get the best coaches from Europe or South America here. All they are doing is filling a gap. They come in, they take your money, and they'll go. You need to get coaches. You need to identify them. They need to have a tick box of attributes that they need to, tick, tenacity, good people, good human beings, likability, ability, knowledge. They need to be able to absorb information. And then I think the way we're doing it, we're then, for example, with Zubair, we're taking him to the UK on Saturday for 2 weeks. That's the first trip. But he will learn so much.
Yes.
And the idea, the thinking behind it is simple. He will come back here and he'll replicate to the boys here what we do in Swindon. And it's a local boy. So it's not like we're throwing English or European or whoever coaches doing it. It's local people. And I have to say one thing. At the moment, you don't have a symbol, you don't have a star, a role model. But, You will have soon, I promise you. You will have soon. And when you have one, and all these kids can aspire to be that kid who was in the slums in Liari, growing up in pure poverty, and he goes and makes it on the world stage, every kid will believe. And that will be the turning point. That will be the huge turning point. Like Mohamed Salah, Egypt has always been a football-loving country. Never really done a great deal in world football. Done okay in the African nations or, you know, these kind of tournaments. But in the big tournament, the World Cup, never done anything. Okay, they didn't qualify this year, so I'm using a bad example. But the point being is that every young Egyptian kid now wants to be Mohamed Salah. He is the most marketable sportsman on the planet at the moment. He makes Tiger Woods and LeBron James in basketball look like nothing. If you go to any Islamic country, you go to Dubai, for example, he's on every other billboard. So can you imagine if you get a Pakistani boy and he makes it that big? It's just, it will blow everyone's mind how big it will be. Everyone knows you produce phenomenal cricketers. Every year you'll produce another Baba or a Wazim Akram, Waka Yunis, these great, great legend players. But you've never done it in football. And it's only a matter of time.
Because you do not have the opportunities like cricket.
Well, we're trying to give the opportunity. And as I said, it's a team effort. We can do a certain amount, but something like today to focus, to highlight, to give us, you know, coverage of what we're doing in partnership with Martin and the commissioner, of course, of Karachi. It's a team effort. It's like, you know, you all have a piece to put in, an input to make this work. And I have no doubt it will. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind it will work.
Sir, we are ready to be your team member. From my channel, I am ready to become a team member if you allow me. Yes, in Karachi, promote your Karachi to promote your club, each and everything. We are ready to promote your club.
Fantastic, thank you.
ओके इस वक्त हम बात करें, हमारे दरमियान मौजूद हैं ज़ेवियर अस्टिन साहब और मार्टिन डॉसन। मिलते हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद। वेलकम बैक। ब्रेक पे जाने से पहले हम बात कर रहे थे स्टूडेंट टाउन फुटबॉल क्लब के वाइस प्रेसिडेंट मिस्टर ज़ेवियर अस्टिन हमारे दरमियान मौजूद हैं। इसके अलावा एक और ज़बरदस्त शख्सियत मौजूद हैं, जैसा कि मैंने पता है उनकी वजह से ही इस वक्त कराची में फ़ुटबॉल के लिए बड़ी एफ़र्ट्स हो रही हैं। उन्होंने ही ज़ेवियर अस्टिन साहब को, उनके कोचेज़ को यहाँ पे इनवाइट किया और वो पाकिस्तान के बच्चों के लिए बहुत एफ़र्ट्स कर रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान में फ़ुटबॉल टीम ग्रो करे, पाकिस्तान के फ़ुटबॉलर्स का नाम दुनिया में रोशन हो। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। मार्टिन डॉसन साहब हमारे दरमियान मौजूद हैं। मार्टिन डॉसन, वंस अगेन लेट मी आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन। इन Pakistan, cricket is a very popular game. So do you think football will become popular after your efforts?
I do indeed. I think it's you know, it's already popular. You know, with the I suppose the glitz and the glamour of the Premier League, that's global. We've had a fantastic World Cup this year in Qatar. That just has raised the profile, and also some of the African countries did very well in that competition. So I think it's inevitable. Football is a global sport and is growing and growing and growing, and inevitably it's going to have the same impact and attraction here in Pakistan, I believe.
You mean sometime later on definitely football will become more popular right now?
I think so, and I think with initiatives that Swindon are following and others that undoubtedly I think will come in the future, that where we can provide opportunities for people, and that's the big thing, and hope. That's been a word that we've used a lot this week. You know, we're giving young men and hopefully in the future young women hope and opportunities for themselves, their families, their communities, and ultimately for the country.
That's very okay. ज़ेवियर अस्टिन, let me ask you once again. You are doing a tremendous work for the Pakistani football. So what do you think? How long later it will take Pakistani football become an international level?
$1 million question, and I wish I could answer it. It's going to take time. Structures are going to be put in place now, are being put in place now. I think all we're looking for, like any business, is year-on-year growth and year-on-year progression. But what I think we need to focus more on is that I'll take our academy in Swindon. We give 20 scholarships a year to boys. That means they have a 2-year scholarship. They get paid, they get lodgings, they get paid an amount of money every month. And then at the end of that 2 years, some get offered professional contracts, so they become a professional footballer. Do you know what the percentage of people that we actually offer contracts to is? 5%. So it's 1 in 20. That's the amount we actually give contracts to. Now, other professional clubs might offer them contracts, but we have been offering over the last 5 years 1 in every 20. It's not, so then you have to look at the model. And the model is, that means that 19 out of those 20 won't become professional footballers. That doesn't mean their life in football is over, because with the way we're trying to do it, they can have a career in football management, in football coaching, in football being a physio, being a masseuse, being someone behind the scenes, a club secretary, a PR, a social media. There are so many aspects of what we're doing that they can go and, jump into. Part of the model we're doing is not only do the boys train a couple of times a week, they always also have English lessons. So at the end of the 2-year program that we're planning on giving these kids, firstly, they get paid an amount of money every month, which is needed, I'm told, so they can help support their families. Even though they're kids, everything's different in this country to ours. Secondly, at the end of that 2 years, they should be able to write English to a decent standard and speak, so verbally and write English, which can only be a good thing for them. That is a massive, massive life skill that's going to be able to open so many doors for them and big opportunities for them. We teach them manners, we teach them etiquette, we teach them the correct way to do so many things that you don't get so much here as you do back in the United Kingdom. So they will be much better rounded men, human beings, women in the future. So it's much more than football.
Okay, do you think in our Pakistan youngster, anyone can be Mohammad Saleh or Messi in future?
Why not? Tell me one reason why they can't. 20 years ago, okay? You picture this, and I've said this 100 times, I feel like I'm a parrot. Picture the scene, okay? You're sitting at a FIFA convention. You know what FIFA is, yes? So you've got the mighty, the good and the great of world football sitting there. You've got Platini from France, you've got Beckenbauer from Germany, you've got Pelé from Brazil, you've got Maradona at the time, God rest his soul. You've got all these great people, and a man gets up on stage to give his talk from Egypt. And he says, in 20 years' time, the best player in the world is going to be from Egypt. Everyone in that audience would say, don't be stupid, you're talking rubbish. 20 years later, where's the best player in the world from? Egypt. So why can't it be Pakistan in 20 years?
Definitely.
There is no, I'm not saying it will be, but I'm saying it is distinctly possible. Given the right infrastructure, given the right support, I think the fact that Pakistan and England have always had, okay, it comes and goes, but in general you have a very strong relationship, and England is deemed to be, one of the pioneers of football, and our knowledge on football is very good. The fact that, I keep going back to Martin, but the fact that we're sitting here in this wonderful room, and they're trying to help your people as we are, is a big thing for you guys. I really believe it is. I don't know anyone else that's out here doing it. But you know, I've seen enough talent over the last year that I am certain that there'll be Pakistani boys playing in professional leagues around Europe within the next 3 or 4 years. Absolutely certain.
हम अपने मेहमानों से बात करेंगे, मिलते हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद। वेलकम बैक। ब्रेक पे जाने से हम बात कर रहे थे अपने मौजूद मेहमानों के साथ। हमारे दरमियान मौजूद हैं एक्टिंग ब्रिटिश डिप्टी हाई कमिश्नर मार्टिन डॉसन और वाइस चेयरमैन हैं स्वीडन टाउन फुटबॉल क्लब के ज़ेवियर ऑस्टिन साहब। मार्टिन डॉसन, लेट मी आस्क यू वंस अगेन, it was a tremendous work whatever you are doing for our footballer. Martin, I would like to ask you, our government is supporting you as well you are doing. So do you think you need more support from our government of Pakistan?
With regard to this initiative here in Karachi, the commissioner for Karachi
That's good.
Has been very, very committed to this whole process. In fact, he's been probably one of the key drivers to forming the relationship between ourselves and colleagues in Swindon. So I think it's coming, but also other parts of government are taking an interest. We're raising some interest here. People are wondering what's going on. So I think, again, it's incremental, but it'll come. And I think the more progress is made, and certainly as we start to see the impact.
It will take some time maybe.
It'll take some time, but I think it's part of the sort of government-to-government relationship. I mean, that's essentially what we're here to help support. You know, we're very, as you will have heard, remember last year during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, 75 years of independence, there's a lot of people-to-people links that are very important to the UK. We are a huge diaspora, or Pakistani diaspora there, 1.6 million people that are living in the UK, and we estimate 100,000 British people here in Pakistan. So the people-to-people links is very important to us, and that's why I think this is another initiative that, Swindon are great ambassadors as well from the UK side. The football is one thing, but they also provided some support in relief during the floods last year. So I think it's part of the government relationship, or British-Pakistan relationship, that we're here to foster and build on.
Sir, you are doing amazing job. Xavier Austin, we salute you, we appreciate you, your work from the whole nation, whatever you are feeling, you have a vision for Pakistani football as well. Sir, in the last moment of program, what would you like to give message to our young footballer?
If it's okay with you, I'd like to give 2 messages. The first message, I'd like to thank the Commissioner of Karachi, Mr. Mohammed Iqbal Memon, who without his support and his passion and his his tenacity, because it hasn't been easy. We could not be here, and so I salute him. I thank Martin. I salute Martin, because having a team like the good old Brits behind you is huge. It's massive. It gives us a lot of credence. Is that the right word, Martin?
That's very kind.
It really does give us, an endorsement, which it's a very good feel. It gives you a very good feeling, the fact that you're recognised and they're behind you, and that's the British grit. That's my first message. The second message, to all the kids out there that aspire to be footballers, I say the same thing wherever I go. I'm a great believer in dreaming big. There's no point dreaming small. Dream as big as you can. Go and fight for your dreams, live your dreams, and, try your hardest every single day. Whatever sport you're doing, whatever you're doing in life, do your very best and magical things will happen.
One day will come, dream will come true.
I hope so.
बिला तकल्लुफ़ का खुसूसी प्रोग्राम हमारे उन लोगों के साथ जो पाकिस्तान में और पाकिस्तानियों के लिए कुछ करना चाहते हैं। ये बहुत बड़े एजाज़ की बात है कि एक गैर मुल्की कोच एक बहुत बड़े क्लब के जो है वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हमारे यहाँ मौजूद हैं, हमारे फुटबॉलर को, हमारे बच्चों को प्रमोट करने के लिए आए हैं, और हमारे पाकिस्तानी कोच को इंग्लैंड लेके जा रहे हैं उनको ट्रेन करने के लिए। ये बहुत बड़े एजाज़ की बात है। हमें इसको अप्रिशिएट करना चाहिए पूरी कौम को, कि जहाँ फ़ुटबॉल को इतनी प्रायोरिटी नहीं दी जाती, फ़ुटबॉल को हम नेगलेक्ट करते हैं हर सतह पे, جبکہ فٹ بال انٹرنیشنلی سب سے زیادہ دیکھے جانے والا اور کھیلے جانے والا کھیل ہے. اور ان تمام کوششوں کے پیچھے جس شخصیت کا ہاتھ ہے وہ ہمارے درمیان موجود ہے. مارٹن ڈاوسن صاحب ہمارے درمیان موجود. ان کی ایفرٹس کی وجہ سے یہ ممکن ہو سکا کہ اتنے بڑے فٹ بال کلب کے وائس چیئرمین زیویئر آسٹن صاحب پاکستان میں آئے. انہوں نے پاکستان کے فٹ بال میچز فٹ بال کلب کو وزٹس کیا اور پاکستانی لڑکوں کو ہائی لائٹ کیا, ان کو پروموٹ کیا, اور ان کے فیوچر کے لیے جو ایفرٹس یہ کر رہے ہیں, انشاءاللہ ایک دن آئے گا کہ ہمارے پاکستان سے, ہمارے کراچی سے بھی فٹ بال میں لوگ باہر جائیں گے, نام روشن کریں گے, اور یہیں سے اسی کراچی سے انشاءاللہ ایک دن آئے گا کوئی میسی بنے گا, کوئی محمد صالح بنے گا, کوئی لیونارڈو بنے گا. ملتے ہیں اگلے پروگرام میں. راجہ انیس کو اجازت دیں. پاکستان زندہ باد.